Going on, everybody? It's your boy Wisco Man coming at you with another one. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button down below. Keep up to date on anything that I come out with. And today we're going to talk about the vaccine process, the COVID-19 vaccine to be specific. Controversial topic. Nobody's allowed to talk about it because misinformation and everything else. Obviously preface this with, I'm not a doctor, this is solely my opinion and my observation, but if you guys can hear me out, when I went to college, I went for poli-sci, and my professor in poli-sci specifically had a method in studying anything that's done within politics or anything that's done with anything in the world, really. And it's simply this: follow the money, honey. That's all he would ever say is, follow the money, honey. Well, why did they do this? Follow the money, honey. And that's it. Period. Simple. So you guys know where I'm going with this. They're requiring a free vaccine, or trying to require said vaccine, in order to go to concerts, to go to different places, to work at government offices and whatever. You can look up, you can see the different things that they're trying to do. Especially out in California, it's quite a requirement. Now, the vaccine's also free. While just like Bernie Sanders used to like to run away with the free statements, and although I was on board with a lot of what he had to say and great ideas, you start to mature and you realize that nothing is free. Money comes from somewhere. So we're going to follow the money a little bit more. And obviously we realize that all U.S. government money comes from taxpayers. Downright, that's it. You can say we're indebted to China. You can say we're indebted to whatever country. You know, the trillions of dollars that we are to China. But ultimately, the only income the U.S. government really has, legitimately, is tax dollars. Obviously, we're not going to get into CI operations, selling drugs and different things like that, but tax dollars. That's the simplicity of it. So ultimately, your tax dollars are paying for this vaccine, period. There's no other way to do it unless they have benefactors that are willing to just throw billions, probably trillions at it, is what it's going to cost, I would imagine. I know if we were paying for it, it would. So, you know, that's the bill's probably no different to the U.S. government. So, who makes the money off the vaccine? Who is the U.S. government paying for this vaccine? Well, the answer to that is the pharmaceutical companies, be it Pfizer, Moderna, Bio-n-tec, the list goes on of the countless makers, Johnson & Johnson, but those are just the accepted ones at the current time, but they're the ones making all the money off this. They're the ones that have a lot to gain from this. So who do you think is pulling the puppet strings on our politicians? Probably Big Pharma. That would be my guess. You know, now the other one that I find interesting is, again, states like California are offering a lottery system, or saying if you get the vaccine, you'll get $100 or something like that. I've heard a bunch of different things. Haven't really dug into it. Don't really care. But what I will say is, any money that is paid to people who get the vaccine, yet again, where did it come from? Our tax dollars, because it's the only money they have. So ultimately, who's getting screwed in the end? The U.S. taxpayer. That's it, guys. The U.S. taxpayer is getting screwed to pay Big Pharma big money. Then we can even get into the fact that at the start of all this, pre-COVID, mRNA, which is the vaccine that is most prevalent or most successful right now. Pfizer and Moderna both are mRNAs. I believe Johnson & Johnson is a traditional weakened version of the virus. Don't quote me on that, but I know Johnson & Johnson is not an mRNA. But basically, mRNA prior to COVID was not considered a vaccine. It was considered an experimental drug that was still undergoing testing processes. Now, all of a sudden, COVID becomes a big issue in the United States, and what do? Immediately, all the FDA rules go out the window. We modify the rules for emergency approval, and they go through the fastest 3-phase trial process we've ever seen, and we have troubles along the way. It's crazy that we can force things on people like vaccines that don't have a tested. We don't know what's going to happen long term. We don't know if you're going to get cancer, or if you're going to get other diseases or other complications, or deficiencies to different pituitary glands and whatever. I'm obviously naming a bunch of random shit, but there's side effects to drugs. We have the process for a reason. But because money speaks louder, we don't give a shit about people's health. We never have. Look at our healthcare system. Our healthcare system's outrageously expensive. Do we care? No. We can bitch to the government all that. Well, correction. We care. The U.S. citizens care. But our politicians don't. They don't do anything about it. ACA was the biggest joke to doing something about it ever. It made the middle class pay more for their health care and get less coverage. So, my entire conclusion of this whole thing is the only people who will ever win in this entire process are the people with the money. This case, Big Pharma, and anybody who's invested in Big Pharma. This has been your boy, Wisco Madman. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.